Don't forget to donate to the hashtag Daytona Dream 2019 GoFundMe for your chance in January to win one of these 3 Kevin Harvick diecast. Now enjoy the video. Welcome everyone to Texas World as we get ready for Division 2 qualifying for this weekend's event, race number 12 of the Skittles Superspeedway Series. We are down to 4 races remaining during the regular season before we will determine the 8 drivers that will battle for this season's chase for the championship. And last week, we ended up seeing yet another different driver go to victory lane, that being Alex Benyako taking the checkered flag at Toddering Superspeedway. And so now we have 11 different drivers that have gone to victory lane, and in terms of drivers that have wins, they are battling for 8 limited playoff positions. And if we have a 12th driver this week, it's just going to get even more congested of drivers trying to make their way into one of those 8 playoff spots. And, we've got 2 two-time winners over in Division 1. So it's at that point we're able to say, okay, these 2 drivers almost for certain are locked into the playoffs. We can't really say that here in this series, in this division. There are a couple of drivers we can look at and say, yeah, it's likely they mathematically won't fall outside the top 30 in the points. They're safe, but they are not officially locked in just yet. Really, unless you have 2 wins, you're not locked in until the checker flag waves at the regular season finale. I mean, right now I could speculate that I think Fury Gamington, Jeff Scott, Alex Benyako, John Andrews, they're up in the top 10 in points and they have a win. More than likely they're going to make the playoffs, but we cannot say that with absolute certainty right now. Looking at William Brock, who's going to put down the first official lap time of this session. It will not be the fastest, though. Tristan Allen, who's got the draft off him right now, fastest. But William Brock comes into this race, one of those 11 different race winners, but he is outside of the top 30 in the point standings coming to this race. Right now, 31st in points, only 2 spots out, or 2 points out of 30th in the standings, though, so obviously could very easily make his way back into the top 30 in points. We'll have to wait and see if that's going to be the case after all is said and done this weekend. He's also trying to chase history here. William Brock became the first driver to sit on a pole and win a race this season. Jessica Shelton became the second, but Brock did it first. Well, in earlier today's session for Division 1, we have now increased the streak of 23 different drivers sitting on the pole for this season. Will we see it increase to 24 here in this qualifying session? Well, William Brock would love to make history again and become the first 2-time pole sitter on the year. Another driver that's making some pretty good history right there, Fury Gamington in the number 10, comes in the points leader, 75 points over Jeff Scott. Right now dodges 1-2 in the standings. And Gamington, of course, also has that win. The only thing, though, if you want to say the 10 team is tapered off a little bit, a few weeks ago they had 8 top 10s in the first 9 races. In the last 2 races, they have not finished in the top 10, so is the 10 team slipping? We're going to have to wait and see. Remember that when the playoffs begin, all the point standings get reset. And if this team does not have good momentum heading into the playoffs, they could find themselves in big trouble, especially in the fact that we have a new format for the playoffs as well. And I'll talk about that in just a few minutes. Tristan Allen's in a good spot right now. 3rd car in a 3-car line, 33.149. Up, and as soon as I say that, he just got bested by Alexander Rowe with a 33.116. Let's see if Tristan Allen has an answer for that. And he does not. Alex Gray now up to 2nd in the 08. Let's go back and find out where Alexander Rowe is to be able to get that lap time. Running behind Jack Halleck. He's got Cody Lamas behind him. So he's 4th in a 5-car line. And does not improve his lap time this time by. Alexander Rowe, if I recall correctly, is a former pole sitter this season. Yes, indeed. Right now, drivers that we're looking at that have poles that are trying to make history as the first repeat pole sitter. We got Alex Benyako, John Andrews, Dylan Young, the aforementioned Alexander Rowe, Benny Watson, Cody Lamas, who's running right behind the 83 there. Also Simon Solera, William Brock, Zachary Fitzwater, and Rob Evans. Oh, and Jake Galloway. Jake Galloway as well. Top of the board, Eric Sadler, our winner from Talladega. And right behind him, his teammate Fury Gamington. So the Gamington Motorsports Dodges looking good here early on, as both former winners this season. Gamington winning at Pigs Creek, Sadler at Talladega. Sadler comes into this race 13th in points. Running behind Keith Batson, and there is last week's winner from Toddring, Alex Benyako. Sweet, sweet revenge, if you will, when he lost out on the win back at, I think it was Madrid, to Vince Almriego, who passed him on the final lap. Well, Benyako finally got that victory last week. Trying to hold off Daniel Voiles, who right now is second fastest. Keith Batson, fastest lap time of the day so far, 33.973, 32.973, even more significant. And I think that lap time may have just locked Keith Batson into the next round of qualifying. Patrick Smith currently sits on the bubble spot. William Brock just above him by about 100. 300s above him, James Shelley in the 71. Last week at Toddring, James Shelley, I think he could probably easily get this season's Bad Luck Award. Running right now behind his teammate Carson Gum, because James Shelley was riding minding his own business and got caught up in a wreck of drivers that missed the entrance to pit road during green flag pit stops in last week's race. Currently sits 8th on the charts, dead last in the points though. Another driver that's struggling in the points that's running right now up there in the speeds, that is Levi McIntyre, 6th fastest right now for the 99. There's Patrick Smith, and there's Levi McIntyre actually right there. Smith 10th, McIntyre 6th. Levi McIntyre comes into this race 38th in the point standings. Only 2 top 10, still for his first top 5 on the year. Patrick Smith hoping in the final 2.5 minutes that the 33.080 he's laid down will be good enough to hang on. He might get a pretty good lap time here with McIntyre pushing him and getting the draft off of the car just ahead. Nathan Stapleton, he might lay down a pretty good lap time. And I thought I saw some skid marks there out of turn 2. We're going to have to see when these guys go back around. Maybe I'm just seeing things, but there might have been a spin. Let's see if Smith improves. He does not. Wow, 33.249. 2.5 tenths off his fastest lap so far. I mean, right now, Keith Batson's the only driver that I think is currently locked into the next round. There's only 6 100s separating second down through 10th between Voiles to Patrick Smith, so it is not over of a driver being able to last minute move their way in, but they've got only 2 minutes remaining. Smith up to the bumper of the 72 of Stapleton. This might be a better lap time. Let's see. It just, wow, it was slower than his last lap. His last lap was about a 33.250. He was a full tenth slower than that this lap. Man. So I guess you have to be way, way back in order to get a good lap time or something. Even Alexander Rowe, whose tail end of this pack, ran in the 33.3s. So apparently, I don't know if it's as the tires are wearing down or what, but lap times are really tapering off here in the closing stages, and another full tenth slower than his last lap, now at 33.473 for Patrick Smith. So in terms of whether or not his 33.080 is going to hold up, I think the answer is yes. I mean, if everybody seems to be getting slower lap times, I think the only opportunity there is for someone to knock Patrick Smith out of that 10th position is to come down pit road, get fresh tires, and go back out there, hopefully get a draft lap. And there's just not enough time for that, as there is 45 seconds left. That time stayed about the same as his last lap. Had a 4.73 last lap, 4.70 this lap. So with that being said, it looks like Keith Batson's going to easily be the fastest car on track. You'd think maybe someone in this group be able to do something. Flickinger, who's third in points, Adam Garcia, Simon Bloomfield, Josh Drake behind this, Dylan Young. Let's see what Dylan Young's lap time's going to be here. Right now 31st on the charts, and nope, no improvement. Bloomfield doesn't improve, Flickinger doesn't improve, Garcia doesn't improve. Nobody's improving. Everyone's lap times are about 6 to 7 tenths slower than their fastest lap. So I think that's it. I think Keith Batson's got the fastest lap time locked up, and I think the top 10 you see right now are the 10 drivers that are going to move on to the next round. I don't think anybody's going to be able to make a last-ditch effort. I mean, this is a group right here that might have been able to do something. Andrews and Siddall, Solera, Jeff Scott, Alex Gray, who's already in, third fastest. Simon Solera, Chris Maley, Zachary Fitzwater, who had the pole last week. But I don't know if any of these guys are going to improve. Nope, none of them. Wow. So there's the guy that's going to be fastest here in the session. Keith Batson. Blue ovals will sit in the two fastest speeds in round one. Batson the fastest, and Daniel Voiles there in second. Alex Gray, Eric Sadler, Fury Gamington, Levi McIntyre, Alexander Rowe, James Shelley, William Brock, and Patrick Smith will all move on, and I believe 2, maybe 3 of them are former pole sitters, as the session has now come to a close.
Drivers, to your cars.
Going to look here in just a moment and see. I know William Brock's a former pole sitter. I know Alexander Rowe is a former pole sitter, but I don't think anybody else out of this group are a former pole sitter from this season. I'm going down the list real quickly here looking, and no, the only 2 former pole sitters that are moving on to the next round are Brock and Rowe. So it's only a 1 in 5 chance that the streak will be broken at 23 different pole sitters. It is a 4 in 5 chance, 80%, that we will have yet another different pole sitter and increase the streak to 24. But let's look down at the what the rest of the starting lineup is going to look like. Jack Halleck just misses out by 1/1000. Look at that, 33.081 to Smith's 0.80. So Halleck's so close to making it to the next round. He'll have to settle to start 11th. Tristan Allen will be 12th. Carson Gum, John Andrews, Simon Bloomfield will be the top 15, with Lamas, Scott, Simon Solera, Rob Evans, and Josh Drake. That'll be your top 20. And I mean, Jeff Scott trying to run down Fury Gamington for the overall points lead for the regular season, and Gamington's moving on to the next round, and Scott is not. You look further down here at the rest of the finishing results for our qualifying session, seeing a number of our former winners down here towards the bottom. Ben Yaku, who took the checkered flag last week, 32nd. Nathan Ormond, our Dragonet winner, down there in 37th. And Caleb Farrell, our Daytona winner, down in 39th. So, not what these guys were looking for, I don't think, in terms of qualifying results. And I'm looking especially at Caleb Farrell, because we've already got William Brock and Siddall Solera outside the top 30 in the points, and they're former winners this season. Well, Caleb Farrell's not that far ahead of the cutoff line. He's 27th in the point standings coming into this race, 10 points ahead of 30th in the standings. So he cannot afford a poor performance here this week as well, or else he might fall out of the top 30 in points. So a lot of nervousness probably down there in the 96 pit box in terms of that qualifying performance. But it'll be Batson, Voiles, Gray, Stidler, Gamington, McIntyre, Rowe, Shelley, Brock, and Smith to battle it out for the pole here this week at Texas World. Don't go anywhere. Round 2 coming up right now. So who is going to sit on the pole? Will we make history? Will we have our first repeat pole sitter of the year? Or will the odds of 80% put us at the streak of 24 different drivers starting on the inside of the front row this season? Daniel Voiles hopes to be that 24th driver as he heads out onto the racetrack. Let's give you where the 10 drivers that moved on to this second round of qualifying come into this race in the point standings. Obviously, Fury Gamington, very easy to tell you where he is. He's the points leader coming into this race. Next driver would be Eric Sadler, his teammate, 13th in the points. Alexander Rowe is 15th. Keith Batson, who was the fastest in round 1, 16th fastest. Daniel Voiles, he moved up 5 spots after a good run last week at Toddring. He's 19th in points coming into this race. Alex Gray is 22nd in the standings. Got to go a ways down before you get to William Brock outside the top 30 in the points. 31st in the standings. Patrick Smith, who just barely made it in, he is 33rd in the standings coming into this race. Levi McIntyre currently 38th in the points and trying to get out of the cellar. 40th in the points is where we find James Shelley. Coming to the line, first lap time of the session by Daniel Voiles, 34.890. And as we saw in round 2 of Division 1 qualifying, it comes down to groups of 2 and 3 as to who's going to sit on the pole. So who's going to come out with somebody else? Daniel Voiles might catch James Shelley here. They might be able to work together. William Brock, first driver to win a pole and a race this season, trying to become the first repeat pole sitter. There's Alex Gray. Exalta Chevrolet right now by himself. McIntyre by himself. Fellow Ford Keith Batson by himself. We had 3 Fords move on to this second round. McIntyre, Batson, and Voiles. Voiles just moved up to a 5-4-6 as he's got the draft off James Shelley, it looks like. Not very many cars on track right now. Patrick Smith, Alexander Rowe, they're still yet to go out, and we're nearing halfway through this qualifying session, so they're going to want to hurry up. Eric Sadler just now leaving, as is his teammate Fury Gamington. Gamington's done quite a bit this season, had a win at Pigs Creek. He's dominated in the points. One thing he doesn't have yet, though, and that is a pole, is now Daniel Voiles going to make his way around James Shelley. This might be an opportunity for Shelley to maybe tuck in line, try and get the pole position. He's going to have to beat a 34.95, or 0.95, I should say. And Voiles had the benefit of utilizing catching up to James Shelley in terms of his lap time speed. So Daniel Voiles may have laid down the gauntlet. And right now, the only driver I think that has a chance to maybe try and pick it up is James Shelley. But it will not be this lap. This lap, he hits a 6.74 up to third fastest, but certainly going to need to be a lot faster than that. I'm not seeing anybody within the vicinity of anybody else. Maybe Alexander Rowe could reel in Patrick Smith, but it's going to have to be pretty doggone quick. I think he might be in the wake, so Rowe might have a shot of being the first repeat pole sitter if he can be in the draft of the 58. We're going to have to wait and see. Let's take a look at James Shelley, see if he, being in the draft of the 26, will be able to challenge Voiles. 34.322 up to second for him. Oh, Rowe's going to have a good lap time here. Oh, wow, it wasn't nearly as good as I thought it was going to be. 34.411. That only moves him up to fourth. Keith Batson. What's going on with him? He's got a good lap time. 34.268. Fury Gamington with a 1.61. Oh, he got the draft off of William Brock. But that is still about 9... No, I'm sorry. That is, what, 7/10 off? Shelley, top of the board. James Shelley got it done. Got the lap time he needed off the draft of Daniel Voiles. He now has a 0.49 to Voiles' 0.95. But what about drivers like Keith Batson? Can he maybe mount a charge? If he could get towards the back bumper of Patrick Smith and Alexander Rowe, he might have a shot. And I think they are going to count this lap time. I think he'll make it back in time. Let's see if he can best them. Needs to be about a 10th better. Coming to the line, can he challenge Shelley or Voiles? He's going to hit a... Holy Toledo! 33.955 for Keith Batson. And that, I think, just got the pole position. Holy cow. They might count this next lap time as well. Shelley's come to pit road. I think Shelley thought he had the pole wrapped up. He's come to pit road. But au contraire, Mr. Shelley, Keith Batson's in town, and I'm going to see if they're going to count this lap time. I think he's going to get there before time runs out. Are they going to count this lap? Is it going to be any better than a 9.55? It's a 9.37. That iced it. Keith Batson's going to extend the streak to 24 different drivers that will sit on the pole this season. Batson comes into this race 16th in points, and Keith Batson, I believe this is the first time this season that the driver that was fastest in round 1 is going to actually be the fastest in round 2 and come away with the pole position. Well, I mean, Batson iced the field in round 1. I think he wasn't he in the 32s when everybody else was in the 33s? And now He's in the 33s when everybody else was in the
Drivers,
34s.
to your
That
cars.
car is lightning fast in the draft. Only question is how fast will it be when it's leading the field to green. So how about that? 12 races in, 24 different drivers on the pole. We are still yet to have a two-time pole sitter in the Skittles Superspeedway series. But Batsa with a 33.937. That was about almost a full tenth. It was over a full tenth faster than James Shelley with a 0.49 in the 34s. Shelley, that'll be his best starting spot of the season, starting outside the front row. How about Patrick Smith? Just barely got his way by 1/1000th into the second round of qualifying, and he will start in the inside of row 2 alongside of Daniel Voiles. Alexander Rowe will complete the top 5, then Gamington, Brock, Gray, McIntyre, and Sadler, they will complete the top 10. So Keith Batson gets his first pole.